What's going on, Sumolings? Thank you so much for joining us for another product walkthrough webinar. I am Lindsay, and today I am joined by the team over at Colorboard. Colorboard is a virtual whiteboard that lets you add images, videos, sticky notes, documents, and more to a collaborative space. It is on AppSumo starting at $49 for a lifetime deal. Before we dive into the walkthrough, I want to tell y'all a few quick things. The first is that if you want to tell us a little bit about your use case, why you are interested in this deal, you can go ahead and do that over in the chat room. The second thing is that if you have any questions about the tool, the deal, how to get set up, leave all of your questions in the Q&A box down below this video. We will circle back to questions at the end of the walkthrough. And the last thing is that there will be a replay of this. So if you need to step out, you totally can, and you can watch this as many times as you want in the future. All right, that's enough of me. Hey, Michael, how are you doing today?
Hey, Lindsay, nice to meet you. I'm doing great, thanks.
It is great to have you here. I'm going to go ahead and pass this over to you for the walkthrough. He's prepared a very cool presentation. I got a sneak peek before this. And let me know when you're ready for questions.
Yes, thank you very much for the lovely introduction. And hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. And we are starting right away. And the whole presentation, which I'm doing today, is made directly in Collaboard itself. So you see here, I'm using a browser. And maybe some words about me. My name is Michael. I was also the guy answering all your questions on the AppSumo deal page. I'm an online whiteboard and collaboration expert, working for more than 5 years now with these tools and these technologies. And here you see me. One of my hobbies is hiking. So we are living in Switzerland, and going to the mountains is something we do very often. And I'm doing something else as well. Here you see myself as a local city guide. So I'm doing tours through Zurich, where I show people the ancient history and the cool spots to visit in the city. So that's about me. And now let's dig into Collaboard. And let's have a look at the features. So I prepared a short walkthrough so you understand what we can do with Collaboard. We will have a look at some use cases. I prepared questions. We will have a look at the roadmap. So stay tuned for very interesting 30 minutes about the Collaboard and this amazing online whiteboard. So what can you do with Collaboard? Collaboard, it's a browser-based application, perfect for brainstorming. And one of the main features about Collaboard is that you can work with sticky notes. So basically, you can add many different kind of sticky notes with different colors and so on. They help you to be creative. And actually, this is done in a very easy way. So on Collaboard, you have on the left side, you have a panel. And over this panel, you can just click here and you start adding a sticky note. You can add 1, you can add 5. So this is quite easy. And as soon as you have a sticky note, you start writing in your ideas. So this is one of the main features. All of the sticky notes, they have a special color. You can group the sticky notes, you can resize them. So this is something which is quite cool to work with. So when we think now about an online whiteboard, so we have all these sticky notes, but we are missing some other things we know from our real whiteboard. And one very important thing is drawing and sketching. So you can use Collaboard to visualize things for your workshop. You can use Collaboard to draw and sketch your ideas. Or if you are a talented painter, you can even do more. For example, here, have a look at a nice city we draw and sketched here directly in Collaboard on the canvas. And imagine now, I'm here, not alone in this Collaboard project. So if you look here on the upper right, there is also Albert who joined me. And when I draw now something, when I make a line, all the other participants in the same whiteboard space see everything in real time. So in Collaboard, if you do something, this is real. It is about the real-time collaboration. And we offer a quite rich tool set to draw and paint. So here on the left, you see that you can choose a pencil, pen, brush, highlighter, and so on to create all these amazing paintings. So if we think now about the online whiteboard, so we have sticky notes, we can draw, we can sketch. Maybe you don't have a tablet or a PC with a touch screen and a pen. So you can also add a lot of different kind of texts. And just to show here in Colorboard, for us, designing something is very important. So when you create something in Colorboard, it should look beautiful. And the idea is, if you do a workshop, if you do a session, you don't need a lot of time afterwards to make things beautiful, so you can present it to the board or to your customer. The idea is, when you do something in Colorboard, it looks good from the beginning. And this is also one reason why we have all these different colors and fonts, just for the creative people, so they can create and design cool things. So next to the text, we also are able to import documents into Colorboard. So what we see here is a PowerPoint presentation, with 29 slides. So what I can do now, I can switch through the presentation. And the idea is, if you're working on a flyer or something like this, you can bring this directly to Colorboard. And let's now say this page number 3 is very important to us. So what we can do now is we can extract this page number 3. And this is now extracted. It's a single object in here. And what we can do now, and this is something very cool in Colorboard, you can also leverage really this power of the pen. So in our case now, let's select the highlighter. So maybe we would like to highlight something directly on this document, or let's choose the normal pen. So maybe we would like to make some annotations, mark something. And this is a very natural way of interacting now with technology. And always remember, usually I'm not the only one doing something in a board. So usually we have multiple people doing things in real time. And this allows you to collaborate and communicate in a great visual way. And this makes it much easier and faster than to share ideas and discuss things. And this is why we implemented this feature to upload documents. You can upload PDFs, PowerPoint presentations, Excel files, and Word documents. So if you move now forward, we also are able, of course, to insert images. So you have seen a lot of images already. So on this image, you maybe see the oldest Colorboard user. He's 87 years old, he's an architect, and he was using Colorboard on a large interactive display. You see this here, where he was working on his plans and designing a new house. So he's still working, and he's maybe one of our oldest Colorboard users. And when you want to add images to Colorboard, you always do this over this panel on the left. And in this case, you can upload images from your file system, but you can as well search the web. So if you do a web search, we are accessing Google. So you can bring in Google images. In this case, we see here some images from Colorboard. We can bring directly to the canvas, move them around, resize them. And another cool thing is, when you have a device with a camera, and if it's not used by a video conferencing tool like Microsoft Zoom at the moment, what you can do, you can also take a picture with your camera. And with that, with the sticky notes, the documents, the images, and the text, Colorboard becomes more and more not just an online whiteboard, it's a multimedia workspace where you can freely add content. And the next thing I would like to show you, this gives it really the boost to be completely interactive. So what we can do here, we can add videos to the board. We have the option to upload or add YouTube videos. So in this case here, we see the video from AppSumo. Or what we can do as well, we can upload videos from our computer. And in this case here, you see somebody using Colorboard on an iPad. So, and she's here drawing a bunny using Colorboard in the browser from the iPad. And this is working quite cool. So you can start combining all these different things and bringing them to Colorboard, which makes it very interesting in the end to have a collaborative whiteboard to foster the real-time working of people. So we have already got some feedback from AppSumo, from you. Thank you very much for that. So regarding the shapes, so we have an existing shape library where you can start adding shapes to the board. So let's say here we put this heart, and these are now real shapes. So we can choose what color which we want to use for filling that. We can adjust the border and so on. So these shapes help us to visualize things. These shapes help us to draw diagrams and so on. And in the end, what you can do now, if you look at an object like this, you can start connecting all these objects with each other. So this means you can use then the shapes to create a diagram, a workflow, a mind map, and so on. So with the shapes, you have another element to visualize things directly on the canvas. So, and then next to the shapes, we also have the option to embed content. So what we do here in this case, we allow people to embed iframes or websites directly on the board. And if we look here, so we see this picture on the left. I took this on the weekend when I was hiking, and where this green arrow points, this is actually where I'm sitting now. So we're in rural Bonnstetten, which is a city close to Zurich. And what I did here, I embedded Google Maps directly in Colorboard. So this is done via iframe and allows us to basically change also things, to zoom in and out. And if we zoom in a little bit more, you see now, this is where I'm sitting at the moment. And this is a way how we make Colorboard also a window to other applications. So let's have a look how this is done. If I want to embed something, I can click here on embed. Now I can, for example, type in a web address. And what's happening now, in this case, we are adding directly a website to Colorboard. And this is now a full functional website on which I can browse, I can click on buttons, and so on. And with this, Colorboard becomes integrated also with other tools. And this is one first step, how we want to make Colorboard accessible to other content as well. So these are the features on our whiteboard. So we have the option to embed things, to add shapes, to add videos, different kind of images, documents, text. We have these amazing options to draw and sketch, and also the way to work with sticky notes in a very easy and cool way. So that's all the things we can put now to the board. And the next question would be, what are the use cases? So what's Colorboard made for? And in the last 15 minutes, I would like to give you an introduction about use cases. So some of them were our ideas, but a lot of use cases came directly from our customers telling us, hey, this is a way how you can use Colorboard. And I'm sure all of you have also some ideas when you started testing or already got this deal on AppSumo for what you will use Colorboard. And one of the main use cases is workshops. So you see here in the image, this is me and a friend of mine. And in this case, we were very lucky because we had two big interactive displays which we can use for our workshop. And most of the time, this is not the case. So as Colorboard is a browser-based application, it runs almost on every device, independent if it's a Mac or a Windows PC. You just need a modern web browser and you can start working with Colorboard. And one of the main use cases is doing these remote workshops. And the cool thing is that you have experts, coaches, consultants, and all these people which you need to have for a workshop. You have them immediately on the same board, independent from where they are. So you don't need to travel. You can save a lot of time and money. And one other big advantage is that everything you do, all the content is immediately digital and it's not static. So when you do a workshop, you can later also start to adjust the content again. So it stays dynamic. Let's imagine we're doing a business model canvas workshop. So in the end, maybe our business model changes, and with Collaboard, we have now the option that we also can change the content we created during the workshop. And to help people facilitate the workshop, we have here different features implemented. So in Collaboard, we have a feature which is called presentation mode. So the presentation mode, this helps us to present something. Imagine now you have 10 people attending a workshop and they are on your board. So what you can do now is you can press here and start a presentation mode. And when you start the presentation mode, all the other people can't add or change things on the board now, and they follow you immediately. So when you move around the board, all the others follow you. And this is similar to screen sharing. So when you use Collaboard and maybe a video conferencing tool like Zoom, Teams, or Google Hangout or whatever, you can use Collaboard also to do the screen sharing part, at least for all the content you create on the board. Another feature is the timer. So Collaboard allows you to time bomb sessions. So if I start here a timer, then I can decide for how long. And what you see now here on the lower right, we have this timer, which then starts to count down. And when we reach 1 minute to go, then it starts blinking and getting red. And one of the features I'm using most of the time when doing workshop, this is the Get Attention button. So this is very cool, and it's similar to this concept in a real workshop when you shout, hey, look here. And with the Get Attention button, I have here the option to say all the people who are on the board, or maybe just one person, should immediately come to where I am on the board. And with these features, we have a lot of possibilities to moderate and facilitate the workshop. And this helps us to be in charge also when people maybe are doing things which I don't want them to do. So these are some of these features which really help to do remote workshops with Collaboard. And this is one of our main use cases. A lot of our customers are using sticky notes and shapes to design good looking boards and then get their customers or clients to this board and do this workshop together. So this is one of the main use cases. Then there is another one. And of course, Collaboard is great for all the people who are creative. So if you do a brainstorming session, if you want to create a mind map, if you're doing a design thinking workshop, so Collaboard really helps you to create idea, to stay creative. And we try to emphasize that people are creative with Collaboard. So we try to have a very minimalistic user interface, so you can concentrate completely on the content, let the creativity flow. And this is also why we didn't pack Collaboard full with thousands of features. So it should be a simple but powerful application that helps you to brainstorm, create mind maps, and being creatives. Now I would like to give you one example and some pro tips when you are being creative. So imagine now we have a group of people, 5 people, and everybody is adding 5 ideas. In the end, we have 25 ideas. And if this group now needs to identify which one are the 3 best ideas, they could spend hours in discussing and figuring out, okay, this is maybe the thing I like more, and so on. So in Colorboard, we have here the option to basically vote. And with the voting feature, we are very quick in identifying which are the best ideas. So let me give you an example. We create now here a sticky note. And I have now the option on the sticky note to vote. So I can give a thumb up or a thumb down if I like or if I don't like the idea. And then there is also the option to give a rating. So basically we have 2 concepts about how to give an opinion, express an opinion for an idea. So let's imagine now all the people have done that. And what I can do in the end, I can click here above and then start showing all the different that let's say I show all the results from the voting. So we have the voting and the rating feature. Of course, when you have been creative, you may want to export things you did in Collaboard, and this is done over the settings panel. So we can export the entire board as an image, or we can just export a selection. So let's say now we just would like to export what we see here. Then we can do something called area selection. And now in this case, we just export the whole selection. And one other pro tip is, let's imagine now we are creating a mind map. So here we have some default settings, and these default settings help you to be quicker when working with Collaboard. So let's say I like to create sticky notes in a fast way. I can also choose a default color for the sticky note. And now if I just make a double click on the canvas, you see all the sticky notes appear with a very nice animation. We can do the same with the text, where we can say we would like to have a default text font style, default text style, default font size, and so on. And this helps us when we design something. So maybe you create something for your customer, or you have some corporate identity guidelines where you use a specific font. And in this case, you can use Collaboard to do that and to help you being faster in preparing a board for a presentation or a workshop. Now, one of the other features is that we can create mind maps or workflow and connect things with each other. So in this case, we also have default settings for connections. And what we can do here is we can say, okay, we adjust the color, maybe the type of the connection. We say if you want to have arrows or not, if that should be solid or dashed or whatever. So this helps us then to really design and create workflows. And in this case here, you see that's quite easy and fast. If you want to add a new object, you just copy paste that. It also has the connection. And out of that, you can start creating things with Collaboard in an easy and faster way. So these default settings really help you in being faster working with Collaboard. So we have seen now we have the workshops and the creative part. And then in the last months, we identified another main use case. And this is remote teaching. So where we have students and teachers interacting in real time, where we have a group of students preparing a presentation, working in the group, brainstorming, learning together. And Collaboard helps them to create digital posters. And sometimes when you present something on an online whiteboard, like with Collaboard, then this is a different style than when you do this with a PowerPoint presentation. So it's another approach. It's a more dynamic and freer approach. So in the case now of remote teaching, we have some options. So what we learned is that the professor usually wants to invite his students as guests. So in this case here, we have now the options in Collaboard to work with guest users. So this is one thing we can do. And I would like to show you how this works. So if I click here on this share project icon, I have now the possibility to invite people by email. Or what I can do, I can create a share link. I can create this link for registered users. These are then not guests. Or I can create a link and share it with anybody. So where is no sign up is required. And usually doing this, you have 2 to 3 seconds until somebody is on your board. So this is really fast and makes it very simple to bring people here directly. And for us, for Collaboard, security is something very important. This is also why we host data in Europe or in Switzerland, for example. So you can imagine somewhere in the Swiss mountains is the Collaboard server, and all the data is pretty secure there. And when you invite now people to the board, you also have some options. For example, in this case, you can say for how long the link shall be valid. You have the option to add a password. So if you want to protect your board by a password, or you can as well require the people to identify themselves. And if people need to identify themselves, then they don't need to register an account with an email address. They just need to write down their name. And then in the end, you know a little bit better who is on your board. And imagine now I'm the teacher and Albert is here, my students. So what I can do now, I can also manage the permissions. So in this case, I'm the owner of the board and Albert here is just a collaborator. And what I can do now, I can change his access permission. So I can say, okay, he shall have only viewer rights, he shall have editor rights. Maybe he's helping me doing a workshop, so we can also assign him the role of a workshop facilitator, or I can give him the ownership as well. And of course, when the students are working with Colorboard, there is one thing they really like. Whiteboard doesn't need to be always white. So what we can do here in Colorboard as well, we can also change, go for example to a dark mode. So see immediately the black font adjusts and gets white. And if we zoom out now a little bit, so here below is a button to completely zoom out. So you see now this complete board, which I created today, where we have seen all these cool things about Colorboard, starting from me being a city guide and a hike fanatic, up to all these features, which we have seen now. So you can navigate very quickly on the board. And in this case now, we are live on AppSumo since last Tuesday. And to all the people here who gave us feedback, I'm really thankful. So for all these constructive ideas and this help, so with your comments and your feedbacks, we are able now to make Colorboard much better. We are able to improve things, improve the UI, the UX, and so on. So this is really great feedback, and I appreciate that. So me and my whole team, we are thankful doing this, and it's an amazing experiment and the journey doing this with AppSumo now. And before we go into the Q&A section, I would like to give you a short outlook on our roadmap. So what's next in Colorboard? So we will have something coming very soon, which is called quick links. So here you already see the design, and these quick links help you to set pointers on the canvas, then create some links so you can jump from one area to another area just by clicking on the link. So this is something which will come quite soon. Coming soon for us means it will be here in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So we have releases every 2 weeks with new features. And this is something which will come now very soon. Then we have some major UX and UI improvements. One thing here where you already see the design is we will add a mini-map, but we will also change a little bit how people interact with objects. So this hamburger menu, which you see here, we will change this in the future to make Colorboard more standard. So stay tuned for some updates regarding the user interface. And there will be also a new layout and a new option to add shapes. So we got one of the feedbacks we got from you was that we should implement more shapes. And this is something we will do. So we will extend our basic library and we will implement the Noun project. The Noun project contains more than 3 million shapes. And you will also be able to upload your own shapes using SVG. There will be a cool color picker. So you can really use the shapes in the way you like them to use. And this is an update which is coming soon as well for the UI and the UX. And then something I'm personally waiting a long time for now. This is the iPad app, which is at the moment just in the certification process of the Apple Store. So we are sure that in the next days or weeks, the iPad app will be available in the Apple Store. It will not contain all the features of the web app yet, but you will be able to collaborate with other people using the web app, using the iPad. And the really cool thing is for all the people who like to draw and paint, on the iPad, we support native inking with the Apple Pencil. And before now going into the details of the whole roadmap, of course, I prepared everything. I will hand back to Lindsay to see if we have questions, and let's start with the Q&A session.
Yep, we definitely have some questions here. Simulings, you can leave your questions in the Q&A box. Jennifer asks, would this work on an iPad with stylus?
Yes, so actually there are two ways. You can use Colorboard within your browser. If it's Safari or Chrome, for example, I personally recommend Chrome. And then with the iPad app, it will work with the Apple Pencil, yes.
Awesome. Are MP3s or other audio files allowed to be imported?
Actually, this is not possible yet, but we already made the designs. So I am assume this is a feature which will come Q1 2021.
Great. All right. Is each user on the AppSumo deal a unique person, or can we have a different group of users at different times?
So actually, when you get a deal on AppSumo, you stack users. So when you get 5 users, you have the option then to manage 5 people in your team. And you can as well, then with 1 user, you can start inviting guests.
Awesome. How would we have, this is, I guess, a follow-up. How would we have individual working spaces for a group? Would we split the board using lines for each person, or can we have different tabs or pages?
So actually, you can do both. You can split because the board is almost infinite. Or if you just go to another tab, you just type in Collaboard again, and then you can open another project and then jump from one tab to another in seconds.
Cool. Who would you consider your biggest competitors, and how are you different from them?
So I think we have 2 big competitors from the US. So this is Miro and Mural. They're also a little bit longer on the market. And in Colorboard, we have a little bit a different approach. So the UI is a little bit cleaner, I would say. We present less features to the users, at least at the beginning. And for us, data security is something which is very important. So in this case, we are not a US company, we're a company from Europe, and we have different standards for data security and privacy. And this is how we differentiate, yes.
Great, thank you. Can you link from the different objects to websites?
Actually, this is not possible yet. We got this feature request many times. What you can do at the moment, so when you copy, for example, a link as a text to the board, let's do something like this. And then if you copy a link, this becomes a hyperlink and you can click on that. So this is the first implementation we did. And now this linking will also be possible then from objects where you have external links, or these internal quick links, which I have shown you before in the sneak preview.
Cool. All right, I have 2 questions. I only see one here, I'm not gonna lie to you. Okay, this says, can you create a, I wanna summarize this. Can you create an area and lock them so that, you know what, I'm just gonna read the whole thing.
Yeah, I think I know where this question is heading to.
Do you?
Let me show you this.
I'm trying to take up less time and taking more time instead. But they want to know if this is available.
Yeah. So, so what you can do, you have here this area select option. So you can select now the whole roadmap. Then you can either create a group and lock the group, or you have the feature to lock all. So there are 2 ways of doing that. And if I lock all, then I can, everything's locked, yes.
Great. And then can you create an outline of the board in order to get to an area fast?
So this is something which we will do. I have, this is this feature here, which we call quick links. So in this case, you select an area of the board, then you create, you give this a name, and then you have this outline to jump to these areas in a very quick and fast way.
Cool. Would you allow or supply an API to better integrate Colorboard with other workflow tools?
Yes, absolutely. So we are working on that, and let me show you shortly the roadmap. So we have planned for December an integration with Jira. This is something we do. We are working on an integration with Zoom, with Slack, and so on. So absolutely, this API is something which we are preparing, and we have the first implementations live the next month.
Great. Can I upload my own icons and images and place them in customized folders?
Actually, this is not possible at the moment. So you can only upload, but you can't place them in your customized folders. It's not possible.
Can I create a template of a mind map or argument map with pre-designed icons as images with a placeholder for the presenter or participants to add text within the template and its pre-designed images?
Yes. So at the moment, this is not possible, but there's a workaround. So imagine now I'm going out of this project back to the start screen. And when I create now a new project, I can either start blank or I can use a template. And our customers at the moment, if they want to use something as a template, they just create one board and then they duplicate it. This is the way how they're doing that. And in the future, it will be possible that you can add templates directly to the board, and that you can also mark an area of objects in the board and define them as your template. But this will take some time. We expect this to be here January 2021.
Awesome. Are mathematical equations coming?
This is a good question. So what we want to do, and this is linked to this way that you can draw and write in Colorboard. So one idea is that we will allow the people then, if they do something like this, that Colorboard is automatically recognizing what you're writing and then helping you with the math formula. So we are not 100% sure how this will be implemented, but we have a lot of customers from the education industry which are asking for this. Yeah. Cool.
All right, we got a lot of questions about guests, participants, so I'm going to read through a few of them. What are the restrictions on actions by guest users or participants versus limited users? And then somebody else counted, do guests count as users? And somebody else asked, is there a limit on guests? So can you tell us about the limits of guests and the difference between a guest and a user?
Yes. So actually, in the AppSumo plan, there is no limits for guests. So you can have as many guests as you want invite to the board. So this is the good news. And the difference now between a user and a guest. So let's have a short look. A user is always somebody who has a registered Colorboard account, while a guest doesn't need to have an account. And you, as the person who invites somebody, you can decide for every user what permissions he should have. So basically, it's quite simple. You can edit, then you can do more or less everything, or you can just view, and then you can't do anything. And there is one difference as well. So registered users can also have the role of a workshop facilitator, and this is not possible for guests.
Great. All right. Cool. I'm going to keep on cruising through these. Okay. When working with a PowerPoint, can you only export one slide at a time?
Actually, you can decide how many slides you want to export. You can say 1 slide, 10 slides, all of them, just press the button and then it's doing this. Yeah.
Cool. And once you annotate it, can you put it back in with the annotations, or do you have to share the Colorboard link so people can see those annotations?
Actually, usually you share the Colorboard link, or you create an export of this area, but we don't save these things back into the PowerPoint. You just can get the original PowerPoint back, which you uploaded at the beginning.
Cool. Is white labeling available now or on the roadmap?
So white labeling is something which we are doing at the moment for our enterprise customers. So we are thinking and discussing if we also make this available to other plans. So it's not clear yet.
Christoph wants to know how to implement / use with Zoom / Skype / M-Streams, etc.
So usually our customers are using Collaboard side by side. And what we will do is that you are able to embed Zoom directly on the board. So then you have the Zoom call directly in Collaboard. This will be here the first implementation.
Awesome. What is meant by video chat in the roadmap?
So video chat will be the option that you can start a video call in Collaboard and that a few people can share their video. And the idea is that the workshop facilitator can share the video and all the participants see him. So it makes the workshop more personal.
Cool. All right. Is it limited to 4 codes? Our team is larger than 20 people. Will you allow additional stacking?
Actually, this is something we're discussing now. We got this request a lot of times. So we will come up with a statement in the next days.
Cool. Stay tuned, Lee. That one's exclusively for you. All right. Molly wants to know, will you add an app for Android?
Yes, this is something we plan to do actually quite soon. So this is something which will come now in November. So
that's now.
We're
in November.
Yes. So maybe it will be early December.
It's coming though. It's coming soon.
Yeah.
Great. What kind of customer support / onboarding do you offer?
So basically there are some onboarding videos and help tutorials on YouTube. So for every feature we prepared the video. There's a help for Colorboard under help.colorboard.app. And if you need some training and so on, you can reach out to us and we can do as well training sessions for you.
Great. Can you put hidden notes behind the objects? For example, let's say I want to have teaching notes to remember during a workshop, or I want to put notes to remember key points about an object.
Actually, this is something we don't do yet. So if you remember this outline feature, which I have shown you before, it will be possible that you can as well say if an area will be visible or not. So in this part here, you can start hiding things if you want to do that.
Cool, fun. Can you please explain how the noun project icons will be incorporated and accessible?
So the idea is that it will be quite similar like this. So if you click then on search on noun, you will have a pop-up and then you can do a search, and based on that you can drag and drop in the shape directly to the canvas.
Awesome. Is there any way to capture tasks and automatically stream / link them to a different task application?
This is something we didn't do yet. So for us, these are these integrations, for example, with Jira or Trello. And this is something which will come soon, yes.
We have a couple of people asking if you'll be able to link to AirMeet. AirMeet just came out in the store today, you guys. I don't know. He's not going to know that. I already know he's not going to know that, but it is a cool tool. It did come out today, about 2 hours ago. But it is a cool tool. It is like an event tool for like online conferences and various other things of that nature, webinars and such. Yeah, you'll find it, eventually.
We will check this out then.
It's a great tool. Do you support multiple languages? If yes, which ones?
Yes, at the moment, Collaboard is available in German, in English, in French, in Japanese, and Italian. And we will add soon Spanish, and we're experimenting with Arabic.
Wonderful. All right, Sumolings, those are all of the questions. We've crushed them. I also believe that there is somebody from the Colorboard team here answering them who probably helped us out quite a bit. But thank you all so much for submitting your questions and for and for hanging out with us today to get through them. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. Sumo links, if you have not already, you can go to appsumo.com/Colorboard to redeem your codes. And it is starting at $49 for a lifetime deal. And of course, it's backed by AppSumo's 60-day guarantee. So you can go ahead and get set up, play around with it, and see how this works for you. As always, we love to read your reviews, so you can go ahead and leave those on the deal page. And we also are more than happy to answer any more questions that you have on the deal page as well. Thank you so much, Michael. I really appreciate it.
Thanks as well. And thank you, all your Sumo links, for the great feedback. This helps us a lot. Yes.
Wonderful. Have a good one. Bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.